Hi, my name is Callie Hokuff, and this is my fitness education presentation. So the first thing that I did with my client was our health and movement assessments. So the tools that we used, the first thing we did was the PAR-Q, the Physical Activity Readiness Questionnaire. He responded with no to all of the questions, and so he doesn't appear to have any underlying health conditions or any issues there and was cleared to move on to the physical assessments. The next assessment we did was the functional movement screen. He scored a 12 overall, which means he is at risk of injury due to lack of mobility. And here I kind of listed out the results of that assessment. So the deep squat assessment was the most telling for me, and he wasn't able to get femurs parallel either when he had his feet flat on the ground or when he had his heels elevated. So he wasn't able to get down to proper depth even with the aid of lifting the heels. The hurdle step test, the only issue I noticed was he was not able to dorsiflex the feet to step over the string, and he was trying to plantar flex and get over, and because of that he had to lift his hip too high or lift that knee up higher, and because of that his shoulders kept tilting. Inline lunge, his heels would lift off. Active straight leg raise, he did fine on. Trunk stability, he also did very well. He was able to do that perfectly. And then rotary stability, he was able to get a couple reps on each side, but it was very unstable. When we changed it to right hand, left leg, or vice versa, he was able to do it, but the same side he was not able to stably do it. Following the FMS, we then did the ankle dorsiflexion wall assessment, where you have kneel with one leg up and the foot about a thumb's or about a fist distance from the wall, and try to push the knee forward and see if you can touch the wall. In that assessment, he was barely able to get his knee even to his toes, so he definitely has very restricted mobility in the ankles. So he lacked significant range of motion in the ankles, and that prevents from being able to squat down with proper biomechanics. Also, it can lead to knee valgus, which he had some of in some of the other movements. Also causes heels lifting, which he also had. So the biggest thing I noticed through the assessments was that the ankles don't have enough mobility. So periodization, let's go to my Excel doc. All right, so here is my program that I created for Hunter. So the exercises have all been chosen to try to help, try to get him to his goal of gaining that muscle mass. So his goal is to gain 3 pounds, 3 pounds in the 2 months of the program. So when we are looking at the exercise frequency and duration of the program, you can see that it follows a traditional periodized style. I gave him 4 days a week of exercise because he is a fairly fit and active person, so he doesn't need to start too slow. He is in decent shape. He just hasn't lifted consistently really ever. Each workout is about an hour. The days where there's cardio might be a little longer just due to the fact that the resistance training itself is going to be between 45 and 50 minutes. So if the cardio goes longer than 10, it's going to be a little longer. Training load, so let's go back. So the training load, which is his percent of the 1 RM, increases from week 1 to week 3. And then in week 4, it's not really a deload week, but it does reduce the load down to, I believe, 65% of his 1 RM, but increases the reps. So starting at week 1, he has 9 reps at 70% of his 1 RM. Week 2, he has 8 reps at 75. Week 3, he has 6 reps at 80. And then week 4, we drop down to 65% of his 1 RM, and we have 12 reps for those. The difference between week 4 in mesocycle 1 and week 4 in mesocycle 2 is that the number of reps is increased by 1. So it drops down to the 65% of his 1 RM, but he has an extra rep. So we're trying to continue that progressive overload. So like I went over, as the percent of 1 RM increases, the reps decreased slightly to make sure that we are accounting for the allowed repetitions based on the load being applied. So we don't want to have too many reps with too high percent of the 1 RM. And then all of the repetition sets in the program align with the recommended repetitions for hypertrophy that's outlined in the half and triplet textbook. So exercise selection. So I included mobility exercises to improve dorsiflexion because of the lack of that movement pattern. And until his dorsiflexion increases, I've included exercises are included in the plan that don't require a significant amount of dorsiflexion. The only one that might would be the conventional deadlifts, but if it is an issue and he can't get enough dorsiflexion to allow him to get down while keeping a flat back, we will just raise up the barbell on some plates so that he doesn't have to get down as far. All the exercises have been chosen to promote muscular balance and growth and are organized into more of a muscle split routine, which has been shown to be beneficial for promoting hypertrophy. The lower body exercises that I chose are mostly compound movements with a few accessory movements, and then upper body is the same. And so on the program, we can see the different exercises. So day 1 is a lower body day, day 2 upper, day 3 lower, day 4 upper. So he gets 2 upper bodies and 2 lower bodies every week, which helps promote the progressive overload and hypertrophy also because it allows him to hit the same area multiple times while also making sure he's hitting all of the muscle groups in upper and lower body. Let's see. So each week the exercises stay the same. So Monday has the same exercises in week 2 as week 3, in week 1 as week 2, and same for all the other days are the same each week to also promote progressive overload and to make sure that he's challenging the muscle regularly enough to allow him to keep progressing and so he doesn't hit a plateau. Upper body days are split into back, bis, and tris, and then a chest and shoulder day. And then lower body, there's 1 hip focus day and then a quad and hamstring focus day. The reason I did this is because to me, I believe the hips are very important, especially in stabilizing the hip, the pelvic region, and also keeping the low back stable and making sure not too much stress is going to the low back. So I included a hip focus day that focused mostly on glutes because I think that's important. Let's see. So each day follows the same order of exercises. The first exercises that are included are all the compound or core exercises, and that's because they require more energy. They're multiple joint movements, and so they just take more energy. The second, after all of the compound or core exercises, come the accessory or assistant exercises, and they're going to be typically the single joint exercises that don't require as much energy as the bigger lifts. And then the third part is on the days he does have cardio, he doesn't have it every day, but on the days he does, cardio comes last because the goal of the program is to build muscle mass. And so I want to make sure that the resistance training is the #1 focus and cardio comes after because he's not really worried about his cardio performance per se with this program. Exercise technique, this will be my videos on his upper and lower body exercises. And then application and faith integration. So what I learned the most from this class was proper movement patterns, how to analyze how a client moves and to be able to notice if there's any faulty movement patterns going on and have a good idea of how to fix them. And also I learned how to better cue and coach clients and not just use the very generic ones, but to really be able to make it clear to them what they need, how to move so that they're doing it right. And not just shouting chest up with a squat, but really being able to explain how to perform the movement properly. Everything I learned in this class was very relevant to what I do because I personal train. So it's all really exactly what I do. One thing that I do need to improve is not over focusing on one fault or one movement discrepancy that I notice. A lot of times I find myself, I'll observe a client squat and catch one thing, but then I kind of focus in on that one thing and don't really take the time to step back and assess the rest of the movement. So I do need to learn how to be able to do that better and not just focus in on one thing, but really be able to assess the entire movement, just not one piece of it. And how I plan to address this is I plan on practicing assessing people with my friends and family that I work out with all the time, and learning how to look at the movement as a whole instead of taking one piece and trying to fix that first, but just really stepping back and seeing the whole movement. And by practicing with them and learning better how to do that, I can provide my clients with the best possible coaching and cueing during those sessions. And I also plan to dig a lot deeper into learning proper movement patterns and proper biomechanics so that I can better and more quickly assess my clients' movement and how they are doing their movements. Let's see. So the verses that I've used two of them before. Two of them are ones that I look at regularly, and it's going to be the last two. These ones have actually played a role in who I am today more so. This one I found for this assignment, Romans 12:1, therefore I urge you, brothers and sisters, in view of God's mercy, to offer your bodies as a living sacrifice, holy and pleasing to God. This is your true and proper worship. And for me, this resonates a lot because as a professional in the fitness industry and working with a lot of people one-on-one, I do believe that God has put me there to be a good example for all these people and to be a light for him and help people see who he is through my actions and my behaviors. And this one really resonates me also when I think about my female clients, especially the female clients I have that are younger, and how important it is to help teach them and help them grow in confidence, but also help them learn that that working out and fitness isn't just about being fit or healthy or looking good. It's more about being the healthiest you can be and treating the body God gave you correctly. And we should live our life to honor him. And he gave us this body, so we should take care of it. And it's not about trying to please others. It's all about trying to please him in everything that we do. So that this one to me really resonated a lot. 1 Corinthians 10:31 is one of my favorites. So whether you eat and drink or whatever you do, do it all for the glory of God. And that to me is just always a reminder that I just need to be living my life for him and being a light no matter who I'm around or what I'm doing. And I especially take that into my training with my clients. If there's any way I can show them like the love of God or how compassionate he is, I try to do that. And then 1 Timothy 4:8 has been one of my favorites kind of since I started getting into fitness because it really hits home, but it's for physical training is of some value, but godliness has value for all things, holding promise for both the present life and the life to come. So this really means a lot because it really helps bring me back to the reality that God has to be the number one priority, and that while it's great to be fit and to teach others how to be fit, that's not the most important thing. And sometimes I can really easily get kind of carried away in that, in the fitness aspect of it, and I want to be able to lift this much, or my aesthetic goal is this, or whatever it is. And it really helps kind of ground me back into why I do what I do. I'm in this field not only to help people feel better, but also to help them see how someone with God and someone filled with his spirit can live their life, and how to be a good example. Also, one thing that this verse makes me remember is that godliness is the most important thing. And so, especially like I said, with the first verse with my younger female clients, I really want to show them that it's not about showing off your body. It's not about dressing that with the cutest gym outfits, but it's about living your life in a way that honors him and being modest and humble no matter what you're able to do, and being a good example for everyone around you. So that's how my faith is applied. And then there's all of my references for the assignment.